Welcome to Sax Reacts, to this theater we call the world. So step inside and enjoy the show.
What is up, fam? Welcome back to Sax Reacts. Thanks for coming and joining me again on this Friday evening. I appreciate y'all being here. You know how we start this off. We always got to kick this show off with some motivation, some positivity. You know, we got to come in and go out this house with some smiles, some happy faces, something to strive for. Yo, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, let's jump on in. Let's get in there. Let's go.
You're much better than you think you are, and you need to remember that most of the doubt and most of the things that you struggle with were installed in you by people around you who have already given up on what their life could have been, and they want you to do so as well because it makes them feel more comfortable about their mediocre existence. The point is, guys, is that you don't really have limits. You have what you have been told your limits are, and you have chosen to believe that those are your limits, and that's why you have this problem going for the things you really want and instead going for the things that are more realistic.
That's right, y'all. Don't be letting these people get in your head. You go for it. You do whatever you want to do out here, man. You still got to keep that dream strong, even though things is buck ass wild out here. And make sure you got God close, very close in your heart, and make sure you got Jesus on the top of your pedestals, because that's going to be the most important thing. Things is getting crazy real quick. Make sure you right where you need to be right. Stop with all that foul stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Now let's get into the bulk of this. Let's dive in.
They are telling us in our faces. You're definitely right about that. Now, that last video was about I Am Legend, but there's another movie we need to talk about. Y'all remember The Terminator, right? Well, depending on how old you are. And of course, we all know the classic scene. And here we are in 2025 with self-healing metals.
National laboratory scientists have witnessed pieces of metal crack, then fuse back together without any human intervention. According to the materials scientists, they confirm that metals have their own natural ability to heal themselves.
But we also have self-healing and DNA folding nanorobots that can reproduce themselves.
Robots can reproduce. It's actually happening at a lab near Boston, Massachusetts. For tonight's Weekend Journal, we take you there to find out what this remarkable discovery could mean for all.
Robots that can reproduce themselves inside the body. Now, maybe somebody can help me understand this. Why are we combining the two? We got robots with self-healing and living skin, as well as a face that smiles. We even have robots that are made from human cells that can move and heal their own wounds. So why are we doing this? We even have humanoid robots with synthetic organs and muscles. If robots and AI are so superior to humans, then why are they mimicking the human body? Really makes you wonder, especially when we got people like Elon Musk saying we can download our brains to robots. Y'all stay safe.
Telling y'all, Terminator was a warning for real. They tell us in the movies. Yeah. The more I watch that clip, I think that's cap, because the first time I saw, I was like, damn, man, these robots really got here tearing up our trays. The only thing that we really got left, you know? But then they feet, something with the feet throwing me off on those. Except for that last robot, the one that looked like I could make on the weekend. Other than that one, I think the other ones was cap. I don't think that was real. Do I think that's really coming? Oh yeah, you bet your ass. But I don't think that was real.
So I saw a post by Elon Musk, and it says, if a computer can do everything better than you, does your life have meaning? And then right after that, he said, probably none of us will have a job. And the first thing I thought of was, what the fuck? First of all, I don't like that keeps getting conflated, like that keeps getting put together, right? Like that's all we exist to do is work, right? Computers will replace us, and then none of us will have a job. Computers will replace you, and then you won't have a job. Computers will replace you. You see how they keep doing that? Like you're a slave? So that should tell you how we are perceived, as though we just exist to work. It's subtle. It's almost a dog whistle. And if you don't pay attention to it, you start linking it in your mind as well. That's not what you exist for. Let's list all of the things that machines can do better than me, and yet my life still has meaning. My life has meaning, by the way, because I give my life meaning. But let's go back. I can't fly, but a plane can fly better than me, and yet my life still has meaning. I can paint, but AI can paint better than me, and yet my life still has meaning. I can't run 120 miles per hour, a car can, and yet my life still has meaning. Why are we being programmed subliminally to conflate the two? What does a machine being able to do something, quote unquote, better than humans have to do with our worth, our value, our existence? It's being done intentionally. That's sort of like, let's put it together, right? You're not going to have a job. Is that what we were born on this planet? Is that what we're put here? Is that what we're here for? To just compete with calculators? Okay.
The woman got a solid point, don't she? I'm thinking she does.
What's going on, guys? I gotta be really, really quick and show you guys this. Today, we are in Casa Grande, Arizona, and we just got a severe dust storm warning on my phone while I was laying in my bunk. I came out of my bunk, and this is what I see. I'm not even gonna flip the camera. I'm just gonna show you guys. It's on its way. Low visibility. There's gonna be zero visibility. It is coming right at me right now. And I'm heading the opposite direction, so I'm about to get in my truck. Look at that. Look at how giant this is. For my fellow veterans, you guys remember this in Kuwait, right? Kuwait, Iraq. I'm sure they had them in Afghanistan. I didn't go. Oh my God, it's coming fast. I gotta roll. I'm going that way. It's coming. It's about to hit us right now. Look, he's running in his truck. Yeah, it's coming up the street right now. It's about to hit us. I'll keep you guys updated.
He held out much longer than I would have. I'd have done been in my truck and gone. Thanks for bringing us that little clip, bro. Yeah, that's wild though, man. The weather, everything. It's just wild all over the place, y'all. It really is.
Do you remember how many times you stabbed him, or do you only know from what's been told?
Only from what I've been told.
Initially, when you were first arrested, I think there was questions of maybe there is an insanity plea. Maybe there are all these other things. And one report reads, the most outstanding clinical feature was the absence of any significant overt psychopathology. So does that mean that some psychiatrists were confused because you didn't strike them as a psychopath or someone that just kills out of nowhere?
Right. They didn't find anything psychologically wrong with me to do what I did.
You killed Dennis Pegg.
I did.
You stabbed him.
I did.
Reports say you slit his throat.
Yes.
You spit on his bed.
Yes.
And you drove off with a hole in your hand.
Correct.
And then you were arrested, and psychiatrists say that they found nothing wrong with you.
Correct.
And so technically you killed someone and you don't regret it.
No.
And everyone in town, while you're in jail waiting for a trial, a plea deal, waiting for whatever fate has in store, everyone in town has free Clark stickers on their cars. People are writing articles. People are selling bumper stickers that say free Clark.
They were everywhere instantly, like in less than a week's time.
Why did you kill Dennis Pegg?
The short answer is he was a monster.
What's the long answer?
The long answer is he had a 45-year reign of terror in our little town of Stillwater, New Jersey, raping boys.
Were you one of the boys?
I was.
Woo! That was a tough one to watch. This is where me and God would have a couple of issues, because in his position, I can't say I'm not capable. Can't say I'm not capable. And obviously, a lot of other people feel that way if they had the free Clark stickers to go along with everything. So, yeah, there's that.
Did you know McDonald's sells 6.5 million burgers every single day? That's nearly 200 million a month. But here's the part nobody talks about. Where are all the cows? Even if one cow gives you 1,000 burgers, McDonald's still needs hundreds of thousands of cows every single month. And that's just them forget about Burger King, Wendy's, or every other restaurant on earth. So where are they hiding all these cows? Massive secret farms, underground super ranches, or maybe something we're not supposed to know about? I'm not saying it's fake meat. I'm not saying it's sinister. I'm just asking one question. What are we really eating?
Let me say it then. It's fake meat, or it is real meat, but it's definitely sinister. Whether it's sinister as in being some long pig, or whether it's sinister as in just being pumped full of harmful chemicals that are targeted and aimed at our health intentionally. This is so great. I'm sure y'all with me here on this Cracker Barrel thing, right? What's going on here? It's the most beautiful protest I ever seen. And this stuff worked too, immediately. Immediately it did.
So now I need to know who exactly complained about Uncle Ben, Aunt Jemima, and the Land O'Lakes characters, because white people said you will not take Uncle Herschel off of the Cracker Barrel sign, and they got that shit reversed, okay? So was it that black people really wanted Uncle Ben off? They really wanted Aunt Jemima off? The Indians really wanted the Land O'Lake Indian off? Because white people fought for their character, and I didn't hear anybody fighting for our characters. Now, I make this a big deal seriously, because why not? Why did we get rid of Uncle Ben? Why did we get rid of Aunt Jemima? Why did we get rid of the Land O'Lakes? Why are we changing college football names? Why are we doing all this? But hey, white people say, no, you're not getting rid of Uncle Herschel. You don't do it. So did we just say, okay, fine, get rid of him? Honest answer, black folks, you got hit with a reverse Uno card. Indian folks, you got hit with a reverse Uno card. They try to make you feel better. Oh yeah, we're taking it off because it's wrong. No, they're erasing us out of history. This is the reason why you should always fight to have statues not being taken down, to have history not being removed, because you will end up being removed from history. Good job, dummies.
He is absolutely 1,000% correct on that. Let's get into a little bit more sci-fi.
This woman's husband is convinced that she died in a car accident with her daughter, but after dying, She literally jumped into another version of herself. He's talking about quantum immortality. Listen to this story.
Bro, I'm not crazy. I just need to know if you've ever died. I need to know if you have ever like experienced something where you were like, oh yeah, I died right there. Like I did not come back. I'm just in a new version of me. Because something like that happened to me and I can't get it out of my head. And I need to know if other people have experienced this or if I need to book an appointment with a psychiatrist. On New Year's Eve of this past year of 2024, I was driving my daughter across town. Now we live in Henderson, which is a suburb outside of Las Vegas. And Las Vegas on a good day, the traffic is horrendous.
Hey, I used to live in Henderson. Huh. You caught that. Had to speak on it.
So you can imagine what it's like on New Year's Eve. And I have to drive through that. I'm on the 95, the Spaghetti Bowl, if you're familiar. And it's where all the highways kind of converge. So it's an extreme amount of congestion. And people are going super fast, 80, 90 miles an hour. It's incredibly dangerous. And I hate doing it, but I'm familiar. So we're driving and we're passing like right where Las Vegas Boulevard is on that highway headed towards Summerlin. And I feel this like weird jolt or almost like a bump to my back. And my daughter said she kind of feels it too. Like, I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like, what was that? It was very, very crazy. And, but there was nothing, like nobody hit us. There was no cars behind us. They were like farther back. And then all of a sudden it felt like time kind of like slowed down and I saw an ambulance coming up. So I was like, oh, maybe it was just my intuition saying, we need to pull over off to the side for the ambulance. So I did that. I pulled onto the shoulder and I'm waiting for the ambulance to pass. The cars ahead of me already took off. So there was no one in front of me, but I see a ton of lights behind us and it's nighttime. So I'm thinking the ambulance is going to go right past us because it was going really fast. And then the ambulance pulled up behind us. And I was like, what the fuck? So I look at my daughter and she looks at me and I'm like, why are they behind us? And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, okay, that's weird. So I start like, I'm going to move again. I'm like, well, maybe I'm in the way of the ambulance. I got to get out of here. I don't want to interfere with someone's life-saving, situation. So as soon as I start to move again, I take my foot off the brake, hit the gas, and start to move again, time kind of sped back up, and I see the car starting to come back up, and then the ambulance moves away from where we are and takes an immediate, cuts right in front of all the traffic and cuts a hard right to that exit that was right there to the right of us on the far lane. And I was like, what the fuck was that? And I look at her, and I'm driving at this point, and I'm like, why did that ambulance stop behind us? And she's like, I don't know, I have no idea. So I drop off my daughter. I'm not feeling well at all. She's like creeped out. She's like, I don't know what the hell that was, but don't worry about it. So I drive back home and I sit down and I tell my husband about it. And he's like, oh, it sounds like you died. Pardon? What do you mean it sounds like I died? Like, I know my husband has some really out there theories. So apparently he has this theory that we all die every so often. And some of us know that we've died. And then we just jump to the next version of ourselves. So say I died in this version, or the version that I was in 2024, and that time slowing down was me jumping to the next version of myself. Now, I don't know if this theory has a name. I don't know if other people have already talked about it. I've never experienced it before. Like, I've experienced before in the past where I've been driving. It's always when I'm driving, where I'm like, oh man, that was like a near miss, I just narrowly escaped. But he thinks that those narrow escapes were not narrow escapes. Those were, you died in that version, and now you're in the next version. And I'm like, what in the fucking Rick and Morty are you talking about, bro? And he's like, yeah, I've died 12 times. And it keeps happening. And I'm like, bro, Final Destination, does it mean that I was meant to go and I just escaped? Or I need more from it. I need to know if more people have experienced this, or if my husband is crazy and I'm crazy and we need to go to couples psychiatry together. And he's like, yeah, think about it. I took one in the back in the military. It narrowly missed my spine by 3 millimeters. He's like, what do you think the odds are of that, of me surviving? And I'm like, well, maybe. And he's like, okay, but then I got tagged by a Fer de Lance. What do you think the odds are of that nothing happened to me? And I'm like, okay. And he's like, and what about that car accident where, when I was on base driving around the sergeant? And I'm like, yeah, that was a pretty bad car accident. He's like, yeah, and it keeps happening. I fell from, my husband's kind of like a crazy California guy. He used to surf and cliff dive and, jump out of airplanes and all kinds of crazy, crazy crap that he used to do. He's like, when I was a kid, I smacked my head on the edge of the pool when I was jumping from the roof. And I'm like, oh yeah. And he's like, well, what about the time I got tagged by a rattlesnake? And he starts listing off the things that have happened to him that should have killed him, and he survived. And he's like, either I am the luckiest person in the world, or this theory makes a lot of sense. And I'm like, I know you're the luckiest person in the world because you have me, but also your theory does make a lot of sense.
Is that not wild? What? And there are so many stories about things like this. I have a few stories myself, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do. So if you have any stories like this, put them below or DM me with them and let me know if I can share them, because I do want to start a series on quantum immortality. I'm super, super interested in this theory. So please let me know below.
That was quite interesting, huh? Pretty good story. Put down in the comments. Either I believe or I don't believe. Let me know what y'all think about her story there. If you think the husband's right on that theory, or if you think he capping. I don't know. All kind of possibilities out there.
Anybody who says they understand quantum mechanics is lying. And that's not an exaggeration. Like, you can do the math, but nobody has proven what it physically means yet. Keyword proven, because that's what makes something a theory, is if it's falsifiable, if you can prove it right or wrong. Other than that, it's just an interpretation. The two most common interpretations is Copenhagen and many worlds, and the difference is what an observer is and what causes a superposition collapse. So say you got two possible futures ahead of you. I can eat either bananas or apples for breakfast in the morning. The version of me that ate apples at that time and the version of me that ate bananas at that time exist in a superposition of probable states. They aren't physical things like how I am, like how me being in this moment right now is a physical thing that's happening. Those two possible futures are probabilities that exist in the form of a wave, and then once they're observed, only one can be true. Many Worlds says that that other version of you that didn't happen still exists though, somewhere in the universe. That's like the whole idea of parallel universes and quantum mechanics that you usually see in Hollywood. But the Copenhagen interpretation says that once one is observed, all the other versions just like cease to exist. Like they completely collapse. So it exists in this wave probability state until it's observed, and then it's a physical particle doing one thing. It can't be two things at once. It's only one thing at once. It can be a million things at once in the probability states. That's what we call information space. Physical space is where things physically happen and occur. It can only be one place at one time. Information space is where all these probable futures exist and all of these versions of yourself exist. But what makes that observation, you know what I mean? What turns that wave into a particle? And most people say it's somebody looking at it. When somebody says, oh, an observation is made, they picture somebody in their head, like Schrodinger's cat, that exists in a box, both dead and alive, superposition of dead and alive at the same time. Somebody opens the box and finds out which one. But observation is a little bit more complicated than that. Because if you were to run with that philosophy, you would also have to believe that when a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to hear it, it doesn't make a sound. So you can see where this starts to get more philosophical than scientific, and that's where the dead end is in science. That's why people say that they don't understand quantum mechanics. I was actually giving a research presentation about this, and somebody had asked me to convince them that it's science and not philosophy. And I said, sir, that's real data from a quantum computer. But after doing a ton of research this semester with my professor about it, I have come up with my own interpretations, if you guys would like to hear more of that. But it's not theory. It's just interpretations.
That was very interesting. Very interesting to hear broke down like that. You know, I'm really intrigued with stuff like that. You know, it's my little small brain. You know, I gotta listen to that stuff multiple times for it to start really wrapping itself around my little wiring, so I can completely put it all together. But it doesn't take me long. I eventually figure out what she's talking about. But when it comes to, I'm intelligent. But when it comes to all that quantum stuff, that's a whole nother level. But very, very interesting nonetheless. But so now, y'all, the second half of the show is gonna start getting a little bit less light and a little bit more heavy, because now we're gonna start getting into more of, you know, what's going on with America, with the world really. But since we're in America and I'm American and this is what I'm talking about, we're just gonna start digging in and you know, taking a deep look, you know, deep dive on some more stuff that's going on here. And in order to understand how we got to where we're at right now, and in order to understand how to fight it, we got to know the enemy's playbook. And this is the writings from John D. Rockefeller. This is his own writings, his own playbook. Now, I've read this already, but this was this lady's first time coming across that. So it was a lot for her to take in. So she's sharing it. So for a lot of you folks that haven't heard of this, this isn't just like some made up story, you know, some fictional story that she's reading. This is really his own covenant, you know, it's his secret covenant. So I'm gonna let her break this down, but really listen to what she's reading, and then you'll understand a whole lot more about where we're at and why we are here, and just how real things are.
It just came on me very strongly, and I was trying to get ready to go for a walk. I thought, I'm going to go for a walk and I'm going to try to figure out what's happening for me. And then before I got there, I went on something anyway. I got this verse, and I'm going to read it to you because I think that it will shed some light on some things for some people, I think. Okay. So I've managed to compose myself, and now I'm going to read what I read this morning that upset me to that extent. So here it is. We will keep their lives short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite. We will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways so that they never see what is happening. We will use soft metals, aging accelerators and sedatives in food and water as well as in the air. They will be covered in poisons wherever they turn. The soft metals will make them lose their minds. We will promise to find a cure from our many funds, and yet we will give them more poison. Chemical poisons will be absorbed through the skin of idiots who believe that certain hygiene and beauty products presented by great actors and musicians will be eternal youth to their faces and bodies, and through their thirsty and hungry mouths we will destroy their minds and systems of internal organs, reproduction. However, their children will be born as disabled and deformed, and we will hide this information. The poisons will be hidden in everything around them, in what they drink, eat, breathe, and wear. We have to be ingenious in distributing the poisons because they can see far. We'll teach them that poisons are good, with funny pictures and musical tones on TV. Those who are looking for them will be helpful. We will enroll them to push our poisons. They will see that our products are used in film, and they will get used to them, and they will never know their true effect. When they give birth, we will inject poisons into the blood of their children and convince them that we are helping them. We will start earlier when their minds are young, and we will target their children with what children love most, sweet things. When their teeth decay, we will fill them with metals that kill their minds and steal their future. And when their ability to learn has been affected, we will create more drugs that will make them sicker and cause them other illnesses, for which we will create even more drugs. We will make them docile and weak before us by our power. They will grow depressed, slow, and obese. And when they come for us to help, we will give them more poison. We will focus our attention on money and material goods so they never connect with their inner self. We will distract them with fornication, external pleasures, so that they are never one with the unity of all. Their minds will belong to us, and they will do as we say. And if they refuse, we will find ways to implement technologies that alters the mind in their lives. We will use fear as a weapon. We will establish their governments, and we will establish opposition within them. We will own both sides. We will always hide our goal, but we will continue our plan. They will do the work for us, and we will prosper from their toil. Our families will never mix with theirs in our blood. It must be pure because it is. We will make them kill each other when they oppose us. We will keep them separate from unity through dogma and religion, and we will control all aspects of their lives and tell them what to think and how. We will guide them kindly and let them believe that they are guiding themselves. We will instigate animosity among them through our factions. When a light shines among them, we will extinguish it by mockery or death, whichever suits us. We will make them tear their hearts apart and kill their own children. We will accomplish this using hatred as our ally, anger as our friend. Hatred will completely blind them, and they will never see that in their conflicts we will be their leaders. They will be killing each other. They will bathe in their own blood and kill their neighbours as long as we see that they are against us. We will benefit greatly from this, for they will not see us, for they cannot see us. We will continue to prosper from their wars and their deaths. We will repeat this until our ultimate goal is achieved. We will continue to make them live in fear and anger, and we will give them images and sounds. We will use all tools we have to achieve this. The tools will be provided by their work, and we will make them hate themselves and their neighbours. We will always hide the divine truth from them, that we are all one. That he must never know. They must never know that colour is an illusion. They must always believe that they are not equal. And drop by drop by drop by drop, we will advance our goal. We will take over their lands and resources and wealth to exercise control over them. We will trick them into accepting laws that will steal the little freedom they have. We will set up money systems that will shut them down forever, keeping them and their children at debt. When we band them together, we will accuse them of murder and present a different story to the world because we own all media. We will use this media to control the flow of information and their feelings in our favour. When they rise up against us, we will crush them like insects because they are less than that. They will be helpless to do anything about it. So I've spoken to quite a few of you about the hidden agenda that we see here.
Y'all want to know what pure evil sounds like? You just heard it. And these are really the people that are really running the show. What's it going to take for some of y'all to wake up? We've got to come together, y'all. We have to. This playbook, we're in the end chapters of this stuff.
On Earth, and the fact that we've been conditioned for a really long period of our lives. I'm only just coming into this knowledge, and honestly, as you can see, I'm overwhelmed by just the depravity of it. But I can't get stuck in that. I need to continue just sharing love and light and trying to plant seeds for everyone to know that we seriously don't have to live like this anymore. Like, people, wake up and really just start questioning our reality here. Like, I can't make anyone see what they can't see, because you don't know what you know until you know it. But I hope that some of you at least can listen to this, and I don't even know where this came from, but it has come to me. And now I'm giving it to you because I resonated with, like, from here. I'm like, this is what they're doing. This is what this fake matrix is doing to us, you know, like, it's keeping us imprisoned in fear.
Deep. Very deep.
Welcome to America, where we work to live and live to work, where we spend hundreds of thousands on a home that we barely get to step foot in because the hours we work to pay for it keeps us away from it, where we buy a car just to drive it to a job that barely pays enough to keep the gas tank full, where our healthcare system will bankrupt you faster than the illness can kill you. We're getting sick is the business motto, and the cure is priced like a luxury. Welcome to America, where the food is fake, the water's tainted, and the air we breathe is up for sale. Where the richest 1% own more than the bottom half combined, and they still tell us to work harder. Where we chase the American dream only to find out it was designed to stay out of reach. And every time we get close to the finish line, they just inch it a little further back. Where school doesn't teach you how to live, just how to obey, comply, and clock in. Where education comes with a lifetime of debt and the diploma is nothing more than a receipt for money that you ain't never gonna see again. Welcome to America, where we pay taxes to keep the lights on in government buildings we ain't never even allowed to enter. Where your rights are written in pencil and erased when it's inconvenient. Where justice depends on your income and the law bends to the highest bidder. Welcome to America, where they tell you if you don't like it, then leave, without realizing we had ties to this land before there was even an America, where your labor is valued, but your life is disposable. Welcome to America, where mental health is a crisis, but therapy is a luxury that most can't even afford, where they sell you fast fashion, fast food, and the fast entertainment to keep you distracted from the slow theft of your soul and your spirit, where the news is scripted, the truth is filtered, and history is rewritten to protect the guilty. Welcome to America, where the people who run this country don't live like the people who keep it running. Welcome to America, where survival is success, where we've been trained to call this living, but in reality, we barely breathing. Welcome to America.
You've probably heard people say that the Constitution is a rule book for government. But here's what most people don't realize. It's not just a rule book. It's a playbook for fighting tyranny. The people who wrote it knew firsthand what tyranny was. They'd lived under a king who taxed them without their consent, who sent soldiers into their homes, who jailed people without charges, and who stacked the courts so that you could never get justice. They didn't write the Constitution because times were calm. They wrote the Constitution because they had seen what happens when power goes unchecked. They built in guardrails, 3 branches of government so no one person rules alone, a Bill of Rights so ordinary people had shields, speech, press, protest, trial, privacy, and federalism so states and citizens keep the powers not handed to Washington. But here's where it gets interesting. The Constitution isn't just limits on government, it's instructions for us. The First Amendment isn't just a statement, it's a command. If the government goes too far, you speak, you assemble, you petition. The Second Amendment, it's a reminder that ultimate power flows from the people, not the state. The 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th, all reminders that the state cannot abuse individuals just to preserve itself. Each clause is a move in the playbook. If the government steps here, people push back here. And that's why it matters today, because tyranny doesn't always march in wearing a crown. Sometimes it creeps in dressed up as safety or efficiency or party loyalty. The Constitution doesn't promise tyranny won't try again. It promises we'll have the tools to stop it. So here's your job. Look at the First Amendment. Pick one piece, speech, press, assembly, petition, and this week, use it. Write a letter, make a post, show up, or link arms, because the Constitution isn't a spectator sport. It's the playbook for how we the people keep the power from becoming tyranny.
Why barely anyone in America gets a trial? Because the system punishes you if you ask for one. Here's how it works. Let's say you're charged with a crime. The prosecutor says, take a deal now or we'll stack charges and go for the maximum punishment. Scared yet? That's the point. Over 98% of criminal cases in the US are resolved through plea bargains, not trials. That's not justice, that's coercion. And if you dare to go to trial, your sentence could be 50% longer just for fighting the charge. And that's called the trial penalty. Also, if you're locked up waiting for trial, your chances of pleading guilty skyrocket. Not because you're guilty, because you're tired, broke, and want out. People plead guilty to things they didn't even do every day just to avoid worse time. The system doesn't want justice, it wants quick wins and conviction rates. If you thought justice meant trials and truths, you've been lied to. Follow for part 4, where we expose who's cashing in on mass incarceration.
1000% correct. And I'm speaking from experience. She tells no lies whatsoever.
You said that I am not free to go. Yep. So I must conclude that I am under custodial arrest and not simply in investigative detention. Therefore, I am invoking all of my fundamentally protected rights, including my right to remain silent and my right to assistance of counsel.
Sure.
From this point forward, I do not consent to providing you with any information or documents that could or will be used against me in a court of law or to possibly incriminate me. So please do not ask me to produce anything and give it to you.
Absolutely.
From this point forward, please do not ask me to answer any questions or perform any tests relating to any matter whatsoever without my attorney present. Officer Gates, badge 5.
Look, he didn't want to
harm, injure, or punish me by any method of assault, arrest, or incarceration because I invoke these fundamentally protected rights.
Absolutely not.
What about? And see, that's what really knowing the law can do for you. But it doesn't always work out that way, at least not in the moment. And I don't like playing the race card crap at all. But when you got a little darker skin, a little more melanin, it's sometimes a little bit harder in those kind of situations. I didn't make the rules. It just is. And I'm half black, half white. All right? Raised by my black side of the family and then my white mama. But that does exist to a point, for sure.
Have you ever wondered when corporations stopped being about building things and started being about squeezing every last penny out of you? It goes back to one court case, one ruling, one moment where everything changed. Dodge v. Ford Motor Co. Yeah, that Ford, Henry Ford, and yeah, that Dodge, as in the Dodge brothers. They were investors in Ford Motor Company. So here's the story. Ford was doing insanely well. Profits were pouring in, but instead of giving those profits to shareholders as dividends, Henry Ford had a different idea. He wanted to lower the price of his cars. He wanted to pay his workers more. He wanted to reinvest in the business to help the community and create jobs. In his own words, he said he wanted to spread the benefits of this industrial system to the greatest number. Sounds good, right? The Dodge brothers did not think so. They said, nah, you owe us dividends. You're not in the business to be a charity. So they sued Ford, and they won. And that's when the Michigan Supreme Court laid down the law. A business corporation is organized and carried on primarily for the profit of the stockholders. Boom. That was it. That line became the foundation for how corporations have operated ever since. Not for the workers, not for the public, not for the planet, not even for the long-term survival of the company, but for profit, for shareholders every single quarter. And that ruling set the stage for what came next. The rise of short-termism, the death of company loyalty, corporate raiders, stock buybacks, massive layoffs to meet Wall Street targets, CEOs being legally required to choose profit over people, even if it means poisoning water, outsourcing jobs, or designing products to break. All from a court case in 1919, because Henry Ford wanted to do the right thing, and the system said no. So next time a company screws you over, just remember, they're not failing, they're complying. And if we want to fix it, we have to rewrite the rules they're obeying.
That was some interesting knowledge to gain right there. I was not aware of that at all.
Is anyone else finding it incredibly arbitrary and difficult to clock in on Monday morning because the world is actively imploding around us and people are being erased from history and there's so much evil going on that it's really redundant to clock in and talk about fiscal quarters? Because everything here is about money, and I can't put in my 2 weeks notice like I so desperately want to, because debt and bills are required in the land of the free. When in reality, I don't know why I live alone with my children. I should just sell my house and move in with my grandmother or my mother and help them. But unfortunately, we have been brainwashed to disconnect from our villages and to do everything alone, so that way we're all paying separate bills. So the corporations make double, triple, quadruple the money because they're forcing people to leave their villages. And I just want to go back to that. I don't want to do this anymore because it's all a scam. It always
This is a story that every single American at home should hear, very appropriate for the times. About 120 years ago, the United States government received a payment of 24 million US dollars worth of silver. Silver was considered a global currency at the time, and we received $24 million worth at that time. It's worth billions today, but at the time, $24 million was an extremely significant amount of money. And we got that money from the last dynasty government, the Qing dynasty government of China. Essentially, the Qing dynasty government was forced at gunpoint to make reparation payments to 8 different European nations and Japan. Japan's not European, but 8 different nations. We, the United States, got a slice of that pie. We received 24 million US dollars. Now, the Secretary of State at the time was a man named John Hay. He sat down, he looked at the expenses. He said, military expenditures, civilian losses, asset losses that we incurred totaled right around 11 million US dollars. The Qing dynasty government gave us 24. So we essentially made a profit, a war profit of 13 million US dollars. So he goes to President Teddy Roosevelt, the older Roosevelt who had this saying, speak softly but carry a big stick. He goes to Teddy Roosevelt, he goes, President Roosevelt, what should we do with this extra $13 million? And Teddy Roosevelt goes, President Roosevelt, he says, we are a responsible, civilized, large nation in this world. China is down on its luck right now. We should give that money back. Okay? Now, in order to make sure that the Qing dynasty government didn't just take that money and squander it, corruption, throw another big party for one of their emperors, in order to make sure they didn't squander the money, they divided that money into payments over the course of the next 30 years, starting in 1909. So every single year, our government, the United States government, will write a check to China for the next 30 years. And not only did we pay back that $13 million war profit that we made, we actually paid more than the entire amount that was given to us. So they gave us 24 million. We ended up paying them $28 million over the course of 30 years. That included interest. Guess what China did with that money? And guess what that money was specifically designated to be used for? It was to build a school. It says you can't put this into your military. You can't do something foolish with it. You can't be corrupt. You have to build a school. That money turned into what was then called the Tsinghua Academy. That would later go on to become Tsinghua University, which is the greatest university in China today. It's where President Xi, the current leader of China, is where he graduated. So many prominent scientists, so many prominent politicians, business people have graduated from Tsinghua University. But Tsinghua Academy, starting in 1909, 1910, when it started to be built, was designated as a special school to send outstanding Chinese young scholars to America to study. And that would later become Tsinghua University, the best university in all of China today. So if you look at the other 7 countries that also took war profits, received silver payments, they were England, France, Germany, I think Japan for sure, Russia, and a couple other countries. Not one country paid back a dime. Only we did. And not only did Japan and Russia not pay back a dime, Japan specifically rode that silver and rode that money into its military war machine that would go on to trigger World War II, starting in the Asia-Pacific region by invading China in 1937. So I think this is a very, very appropriate story. This is a true story. You can go and Google it. You can look it up. The original reparation payment was called the Boxer Indemnities. And I thought, in a time and era that we live in today, a very, very appropriate story about what our nation used to be like 120 years ago. Let's think on that.
Listen to what I'm about to say to you, because I'm only going to say it once.
I absolutely had to put that story in there for all you people are like, America is just, man, ain't nothing good about America. Nah, there's a lot great about America. We just got the wrong people at the helm, and we got to figure out how to change that. And I ain't talking about going and voting, but that whole system needs to be 86'd and fixed, because ain't nothing right with the system right now. But the country folk, American folk, and I don't mean country like out in the sticks, I mean country as in USA. Americans, we just need to be united.
You eat your hot dogs and your hamburgers and you drink your beer and you hang out with your buddies. I hope you wake up. There was a time where I was willing to lay down my life for this country and thought it was worth fighting for. It's a facade, and I know I'm not a pessimist. I'm really not a negative person. Left, right, red, blue, Democrat, Republican. You're putting your faith in the wrong people. This world is Satan's, little g. He's the god of this world, little g. This country is his. So America's not going to hell in a handbasket. It's been in a handbasket the whole time because it belongs to him. I don't know who needs to hear this. I don't know where this came from, but I felt like I needed to make this video. It has been in a handbasket the whole time because it belongs to him. I voted for the orange man twice because I saw him as the lesser of two evils. Let me tell you, the lesser of two evils is still an evil. Two wings of the same bird. I don't trust him as far as I could throw him. And there was a time where I was willing to die and give up my life and my family for these people. Noble cause, noble intentions. We all have it for the most part when we join. It's a facade. Your freedom is a facade. And again, I'm not a pessimist. I'm not a very negative person. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a positive person. But it's time that y'all wake up because you're placing your faith in the wrong people, regardless of which side you're on. They're on the same team. They own everything. They run everything. You're on the wrong side of things because you're putting your faith in the wrong people. Put your faith in the Lord, because I promise you, all this means nothing. A gorgeous home means nothing. Money means nothing. Your nice car means nothing. And that's a sad thought, because we put so much value into our hard work and the things we have. You can't take any of it with you. Not one bit of it. It means nothing. I hope you look at things differently moving forward. I hope that you can see that you're placing your value and your worth of things in the wrong things. It's not bad to have nice things. That's not wrong. But we get so caught up and we get at each other's throats. We are all on the same team. And they've pitted us against each other. Because again, this is Satan's world. Satan's country. Every country is Satan's. I don't know who needed to hear this. And I'm rambling at 3 minutes right now on this video, but somebody needs to hear it. Open your eyes and wake up. If I died out there, they hand my wife a flag. My little boy grows up without a daddy. My wife goes on without a husband. My mother and father lose a son. My brothers and sisters lose a sibling. And they replace me in a second. In a proxy war that we don't even need to be in. And they replace me the same day with somebody else. They don't value you. You're a means to an end. But you know who you're not a means to an end to? God. And maybe I'll catch some flack for that. You are everything to him. He created you with pure intentions. And he wants to spend the rest of it with you. Excuse me. Good Lord, I don't know where this came from. I don't know why I felt compelled to make this video. I love y'all. I really do. Send me a DM. Talk to me if you have questions. I love y'all.
Felt compelled to make that video because of the air. The air is thick. You can feel it. You can feel the changing of tides, the turning of this world that we're in. And people need to not be scared to talk about God, for sure, especially right now with all this satanic stuff being pushed so hard on the world stages. I mean, everything from Olympics to music festivals to music videos to movies to anywhere you go, everywhere you look, it's just right out in the open, pushed harder than it's ever been. That means we're getting closer and closer to something that is probably a lot like the rapture. And you might want to start thinking about patching up that soul a little bit. That's all I'm saying. Me included.
The FBI, CIA, billionaires, media empires have destroyed every effort of resistance, not only in the United States, but in 80 foreign countries as well. Over and over. COINTELPRO, assassinations, infiltrations, psyops, cultural co-optation, fear. Why would now be any different? Here's the tough thing. It might not be. If we try to copy old revolutions, it probably won't work. If we build it the same way, they already know how to destroy it. But the deeper thing is that this moment isn't like any other moment in history, and we're not like any generation before. Right now, the surveillance state is exposed and it's breaking. We know about COINTELPRO, Snowden, Cambridge, Analytica, MKUltra, Pegasus, Palantir. The illusion is gone. People don't trust intelligence agencies the way that they used to, even across political lines. The CIA doesn't have the credibility it once did, and secrecy is harder to maintain. This doesn't stop oppression, but it does change the playing field. Truth spreads faster than cover-ups now. Decentralized movements are harder to kill. They could kill MLK, Fred Hampton, and Malcolm, but they can't assassinate a million networked minds. Today's movements don't have to be just one leader. They can have thousands of organizers, creators, healers, teachers. We've seen the playbook now, and people know the language of propaganda, infiltration, and divide and conquer. More people than ever know how to ask, who benefits from this conflict? Why is this movement suddenly in the headlines? Is this panic organic or manufactured? The more you recognize the game, the less power it has. And also, something spiritual is waking up. More people are asking deeper questions about purpose, dignity, trauma, and love. A lot of young people are turning into the inner revolution, not just the external one. And the CIA has no weapon for that. You can kill a person, but not a consciousness. And yeah, they still might try. They'll try to discredit you. They'll try to scare you. They'll try to make you give up before you begin. This is the real reason this time might be different. You stayed this long watching this video. That means that you're aware, and you're prepared to move wisely, not blindly. This time we don't need martyrs, we need communities. We need communities who know how to protect each other, teach each other, and grow together without being seen as threats, but as a shift so powerful that it doesn't need permission. The goal isn't to overpower the old system, it's to make it obsolete by outgrowing it from within. This time the revolution doesn't wear uniforms or carry flags. It breathes in whispers, moves in networks, and roots itself in love that cannot be killed.
A lot of people are waking up out there. That's the whole
I
purpose.
told you I was going to be a pain in your ass. This weekend, we stopped 9 of your abductions. Whether it was you or ICE actors, don't really fucking care. But we also, on top of that, relocated over 20 individuals. Not just got them out of where you thought they were going to be, just flat out relocated into a safe place, safe community where, life goes on. Because as Americans, that's what we do. We look out for each other. We make sure that life goes on. Not your version of life, but the American version of life. Now, also on top of that, what we did is went to a lot of states and reached out to a lot of parents in all the different school districts that you guys were targeting. And what we did is we reached out to specific teachers and said, hey, call us first. That's all we ask. So what we're going to do is we're going to ensure that no child, to the best of our abilities, leaves any school with anyone other than their parent. So you won't know what school has us, but I can assure you that the numbers are in the hundreds of people just as myself willing to respond. And we will surround it and stop you from leaving that school ground in the hopes that every media in town shows up, that everyone shows up. Because again, if you are not their parent, you will not leave that school with that child. But anyways, it's been a busy weekend. More to come. Stay tuned. And as always, stay free.
I absolutely love it. That's action. That's real change, real action, boots on the ground, stepping in the middle of some stuff that's not going to get no play. Now imagine if we all get together like that on whatever tier of this crooked society we're in, whatever level we're trying to fix at the time. The kids is the highest as far as I'm concerned. So good to see.
If you're a cop, listen up. Do you realize that that badge does not give...
Before this clip gets to playing, I want to make this really clear. I do not like cops. I do not necessarily like cops. But I don't want anyone to see this if they don't watch all the way through and hear how much this guy clearly does not like cops, to think that that's necessarily reflecting my opinion of cops. I've got cop friends. I've got great cop customers at my restaurant. There are some really good people that are cops, but his overall message in this is pretty damn valid. And again, from experience, a lot of experience. So I just wanted to preference that before this clip goes. I don't got no hate like that for the police just because they're police, but the crooked side of things, it's real. Can be very real.
Give you the right to walk up to an American citizen and say, give me your ID. You know, so many of you, so damn many of you think that because you have that badge on, you have the right to assert dominance over a person on the street, not realizing that you're supposed to serve them, but you actually serve the elites. That is your job, you know, and in so many ways. Financially, you serve them by your ticket racket. Have you thought about why you have to have all these tickets by the end of the month, or they're going to look to get rid of you because you're showing that you're fucking around? You're not giving too many citations, and you have incentive to get bigger crimes, right? So you fish for more crimes as you're trying to get someone to talk themselves into you searching their car, being ignorant enough to let them do whatever, lie to them, you know, fish for all these crimes until you get more and more and more. And then you can build up your whole fucking resume and then, you know, get promoted and shit. And it is extremely crooked as you stomp over lives which were completely unnecessary. How many times you've pulled over someone who was a couple of miles over a speed limit that you have no right to enforce? Right? Seatbelt law that you have no right to enforce. All of this shit was created to prey on people's empathy, if I get on that subject, yes. You enforce the elites' lawmaking, which they have no right to make these laws, yeah, because it's all unconstitutional. You have no right to tell someone they have to have insurance. You have no right to tell someone they have to protect themselves driving down the road with a seatbelt, or we charge you money for our racket and serve the fucking elites. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about. That's why we have two different court systems that you pig ass fucks serve. The Saturn worshipping death cult, the maritime death cult of that. It is all a priesthood. This is why the judge comes out and you all rise and put your hand up and shit and swear on this Bible that's far away. You know what I'm saying? But really you're swearing to the priesthood of Saturn. Yeah, and you worship by the rings. That's why you have to have rings in your marriage and all this other shit. There's so much that goes into it, but this is the racket you serve, and this is for the peons that we are. If you're like, you know, Big Daddy T, right? Or another kind of elite person, then you serve the higher court, which means you serve nothing but the all-seeing eye, pretty much, right? So you will be determined by the big guy. Anyway, but that is what is going on, you pigsters. This is what you serve. And you really need to realize that you're a bunch of terrorists, thugs, fucking mafioso bastards, and that you need to embrace your corruption. You know, if you want to continue to be a cop and you see this shit I'm saying, you need to assimilate this and realize that I'm telling you the truth, and that it is your job to be a fucking terrorist for the elites. And since you are that, take a bribe. Take a bribe, man. If a motherfucker pulls a few bills to let you, hey, man, just slide, man. Fuck your jacket or whatever the shit, your resume. Get that money, man. Get that money and go cheat on your wife or whatever it is, you sick fucks do. It's fine. Your narcissism should say it is okay to do this, right? So I'm encouraging your corruption because just slapping that badge on makes you corrupt. You can't be lighting up people with emergency lights. That's a felony. But you do it routinely. Routinely, you get away with literal murder because the badge says so. So, the next time you violate someone's rights by saying, hey, I need to see your ID, you look suspicious because you have no right to do that. And no law, common law, we're supposed to be under it. You don't serve it, you serve maritime. It's all, you could just make it up as you go. It's so corrupt. You're a problem. You're the reason why we can't get rid of the problems in our communities, like the PDF files, right? And people like that, people that, we can't do anything until they actually pretty much, grape up somebody or, stab, whatever they got to do. And then you'll do something about it. But then it's too late. They've moved to another fucking state and have another identity. And it's all because you get in the way of us being able to fuck this shit up. And if it wasn't for you, our politicians would all be in line, or they all would be covered in tar and feathers. All of them. All of them shits would be covered in tar and feathers or hanging from fucking hemp rope from a fucking street post if it wasn't for you getting in the way of true justice, American justice, and we're fucking sick of it. I'm sick of it. So I don't know what'll ever be done. Probably not a goddamn thing, and that's unfortunate, you fucking swine. But that is, I hate the whole system. The judges, the lawyers, all of it is a racket. Last thing, pigs, understand that everything you do just serves one big circle. It doesn't escape the circle, the black hole that you create. You are the fucking ground pounders for this big operation of money, death, taxes, and extortion. That's all you're about, and you have no fucking idea. So I've had this saying, and I'll end it with this. There are good people that are cops, but there is no such thing as a good cop. You fucking swine.
Woo! That was heavy. That was heavy. But if we're being real, folks, and that's all we're ever going to be here on this channel is real, he ain't lying. He's really not lying. That was pretty much all facts right there. And let's just keep going with even a little bit more evidence of that. Shall we?
Hello, my name is Robert Mann. I'm a President Chief of Operations at Oklahoma Anti-Corruption Task Force. We've been at this for several years now. And over the course of the years, you start to get a view of the bigger picture. You do a lot of studying and in and out of courts and understand what's going on. And we just provided notice to the Wagner County Commissioners that they're paying their law enforcement officials and their judges to violate the Constitution. The Constitution of the United States of America, which is the superior Constitution, the common law, the law of the land, anything that violates it or is contrary to it is, what do they call it, is a ab initio, is void ab initio from the very beginning because it didn't stand the test. Well, no person shall be held for a capital or otherwise infamous crime except upon presentment or indictment by a grand jury. Period. Period. But we allow police officers and district attorneys in Oklahoma to charge by information. That means somebody can come up and say, he broke the law and I think he needs to go to jail. And so the district attorney signs a piece of paper, the judge signs it, and you're in jail. No review, no evidence. See, there's a problem in the constitutional way of doing things that knocks a dent in the market share of the Bar Association, a huge dent in the market share of the Bar Association, because it slows things down, because they can't run cases through the court like it's a money-making mill. This is exactly what it is. So that being the case, so what would happen under a constitutional prosecution? So-and-so says he committed a crime. Well, what crime did he commit? Okay, well, he committed robbery. Okay, well, we're going to send an investigator and we're going to gather some facts and we're going to turn those facts over to the grand jury. The grand jury is going to call their own witnesses in and they're going to see if he in fact did commit robbery. If he didn't, if it appears that he did, or it appears that he didn't, if it appears that he did, and they'll hand out an indictment and he'll go to jail. When you leave that, now that indictment has come from a grand jury, an indictment from a grand jury. So what is a grand jury? A grand jury is 12 citizens. And actually, I think they call like 20 or something, so there's all alternates or something. But anyway, it's 12 citizens, 12 of your neighbors that are not Bar Association members. These are not attorneys, these are not judges, these are not law enforcement. These are your neighbors who have an education in the same system you do, who work a job just like you do, who have common sense just like you do. And they get to decide, because they're not going to get paid either way. They don't have any vested interest. And everyone in the Bar Association has a vested interest in every legal action continuing, because that means that a judge continues to get paid, that means an attorney continues to get paid, it means that counselors or mediators or auditors, or they all get paid because the case continues. So the Bar Association does everything they can to see that these cases continue for as long as they can. And that's why they've pushed the grand jury indictment requirement out of the way, so that they can charge as many people as they can with felonies and keep those running as long as they can in such a fashion as to make as much money as they can. They've created this whole plea deal churning mill here in the United States. Here in Tulsa County, we've got a public defender who heads their department that was a district attorney for years. That woman sat across the table from us, me and my partner, and lied to us, said that at first she threatened to take away the pay to the public defender of a client if they didn't agree to plead guilty, because they were protecting a confidential informant. Confidential informant was a white woman, and the man that they were pinning her stuff on was a white informant, a white informant girl. And so they took the gun that was under her seat in her car, the ammunition out of her pocket that matched the gun, and the drugs out of her purse, and charged him with all of it. And then threatened him if he didn't take a plea deal. When he didn't take the plea deal, they made good on the threat and pulled his public defender, and then gave him the time for it. So that's the kind of ethical stand you can expect from public defenders all over this country. They work for the district attorney's office. I don't care what kind of front they put up. They are there to negotiate, to get you to sign a guilty plea through whatever coercion. The district attorney and the public defenders work together on these coercive tactics. It's ridiculous. We see it go on all the time. So anyway, a grand jury is 12 of your neighbors that get to decide whether a crime was committed. They don't have any vested interest. They're not going to make any more money if the case continues. They're not going to make any money if the case goes away. So that's why they had to get rid of the grand jury. When you get rid of that grand jury, now I hope I'm recording. So when you get rid of the grand jury, now only Bar Association members, the district attorney, the assistant district attorney, the public defender, the judge, now they get to decide without any of your neighbors, without any oversight, without any civilian vision into the whole thing. These bar members get to sit around the table and decide the best course of action in order to enrich themselves and further insulate themselves from accountability. That's why they created what they call qualified immunity. As long as I'm doing my job. Well, if you're breaking the law, you're not doing your job. You took an oath to defend and uphold the Constitution of the United States of America, and it is the supreme Constitution. None other can take its place. You can't substitute one part for another. The Bar Association is a criminal monopoly across the United States. in control of our courtrooms so that they can enrich themselves financially and insulate themselves politically. Immunity creates a separate class of unaccountable individuals who can do whatever the hell they want and not be held accountable. We called that aristocracy before 1776. And it's found a home here. It's amazing that the bar, the British something registry, the British account registry or whatever the hell it is, the bar is the source of the rebirth of aristocracy in America. Huh? Right? No, they're not accountable, but you are. Before long, it'll be prima nocta. They'll be sleeping with your wife your first night of marriage so they can get rid of your dumb butts, right? That's coming.
How much more must you endure before you open your eyes and can see the way things truly are? Not the peaches and trees. Peaches and trees, I'm pretty sure that ain't the same. Peaches and cream, y'all. Not the peaches and cream, sunshine, butterflies that a lot of people think it is.
Jurisdiction. Is it land, air, water? There's a guy, David, that can't get his wife out of jail, but he knows everything about the law. And he tells you that law stands for land, air, water. 3 types of jurisdiction. Okay. We'll go there. But here's what you have to do. First of all, in your paperwork, you must have the phrase, as one of the people, I hereby invoke the common law jurisdiction. Then you challenge the jurisdiction of the prosecution or of CPS or of the IRS or of the government agency and demand that they prove personal jurisdiction and subject jurisdiction and subject matter jurisdiction. And you use that phrase. Don't go personal, subject, and subject matter. Personal jurisdiction and subject jurisdiction and subject matter jurisdiction. Then demand that they provide the trust in question. Demand that they prove they are an agency of government by showing the charter that Congress authorized them according to the Constitution. And then demand the contract or other commercial agreement which obligates you to their jurisdiction. And if you cannot provide me with those, then I respectfully demand that you give me an affidavit in support of the warrant for my arrest, or the warrant to seize my child, or the warrant to seize my money, and a warrant signed by a neutral judge that's disassociated with that court. There's an important case, that's what that citation is, Coolidge versus New Hampshire, which talks about that specifically, that it must be a neutral and detached judge. It can't be from the same courthouse. Sorry, guys, everything they've been doing to us is a fraud. Unconstitutional. So it's real easy to break through the fraud to the freedom. Follow me for more. If you have any questions, hit me up.
Hey detectives, are you enjoying this little crash course in asymmetric tactics I'm dragging you all through? I've been using the Streisand effect as the tool to ensure your destruction, layered in with little counter-surveillance tactics to have you willingly jumping into your own contradictory traps, and you've fallen into it every step of the way. There's fraud everywhere with your names on it. I think you especially must enjoy the fact that I had made you panic so hard that you launched the attack at the pool just to shut me up quicker because I was releasing all of the really damning pieces of the documents you guys committed fraud on. That way it happened in front of witnesses. My buddy was able to get a really nice video of you guys committing the crime. And then because there were so many people around and there was no justification for deadly force at all, he was in front of a fucking child. How could you shoot her father for no reason? You didn't even show the paperwork or announce why you were there. And then because you guys had no knowledge that a video was taken, you were acting with complete impunity and you solidified your lies into the medical record at PEMS and then committed more fraud using those lies. You can't possibly walk that back. You've already committed to the lie. And these tactics seem to be working flawlessly. It's been protecting me very well against you guys and your unlawful entries into my life trying to destroy me and harm my daughter. I see a lot of you guys watching my page. That could be interpreted as witness intimidation, and it has your star witness so destabilized that she's currently stalking my page. She couldn't help herself but to follow me and like a photograph of her own felony evidence. Shocking. It all seems to be unraveling. I'll see you guys in court eventually.
And there it is, guys. I mean, it's back to back to back to back. Constant evidence of the crooked system that we are in. Now, again, I don't know how to fix it, but it's got to get fixed. Got to get fixed.
My coworker asked me the other day, he said, "You would really go for dangerous freedom?" And I said, absolutely, I want dangerous freedom. See, the reason I want dangerous freedom is because I don't want peaceful slavery. I'd rather depend on me, I'd rather depend on my group, my circle, than I would depend on the 5-0 down the street, the police officer down the street. Nothing against the police officers, they're not my thing, they're not for me. But I would take my personal safety into my own hands versus letting them handle it for me. No chance. So yes, I'll take care of my personal safety myself. Dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. Because when I can't defend myself, I'm a subject.
But y'all know we come to that time of the show, man. It's about time for them curtains to close. But before we go, you know I got to leave y'all with some giggles, some smiles. Come in this house happy, leave this house happy. That's just the way it's got to be around here. So without further ado, y'all, let's get some laughs in. Here we go.
So this is what I just came home to. This is empty. This was probably more than halfway full. And this, the top is not all the way on. That was more than halfway full. Jack, try to walk. Come on, let's go. It's not funny, but my dog is drunk and I don't know what to do about it. Fuck.
Oh, that's hilarious. That dog was toe up from the floor up. All right, y'all, man. That's the end of this show. And don't forget, man, this big old world is just a big old stage full of actors. Keep your eyes open, your ears peeled, and your head on a swivel, y'all. Love you. See you on the next one. Peace.
Kingdom last year when it was leaked to the media.